It is Monday, December 16th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. You have a new family member?
I do, Chris. Late last night, Livy and I went to the airport, which don't go to LAX on a Sunday night ever.
Mhm.
I think you and I have made that mistake before.
Mhm.
Um, Picked up our little Australian Labradoodle,
Mm.
brought her home, had to
Mm.
keep her a secret from the kids all last night. So I was up, making sure that everything was good. And then we got to surprise our kids with her this morning. So
Did you video the surprise?
we did. We
Okay.
did. They've wanted a dog for so long. We've kind of held off, and then we just figured it was kind of the right time now. They're old enough. They've been really good kids. So we wanted to reward them. It was awesome seeing their faces light up. I'm like, meet your new dog, and like, this is ours. Like, really? And they just couldn't believe it.
I
And
know.
then the rest of the morning was just they were playing. It's awesome, man. I kind of forgot. I haven't had a dog in a while, so
It's great. It's
yeah.
great. Love the experience. Enjoy and welcome to the family. Name is
We think Palmer Plouffe.
Palmer Plouffe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a snot-nosed private school kid, if you ask me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she might be. Kind
Welcome to
of
the
kind of grown
family.
up like that.
All right. A lot has transpired since we last met. I know that you did a special breaking news edition of Talking Baseball when the Kyle Tucker trade went down. In case you've been under a rock or just forgot what happened, Astros Cubs, they commenced the deal. Tucker's headed to the north side of Chicago for Itzhak Paredes, one of the Cubs' top prospects, and Cam Smith, who was a first-round pick, I believe, a year ago, and Hayden Wesneski. Sounds like he's going to get a chance to be a starting pitcher. Now, the question is, because Tucker is in his walk year, is it really worth the risk of Tucker if he pulls a Juan Soto and is one and done?
I think if you polled, 10 different people, you might get 10 different answers here because
Well,
I
hold
think this
on.
conversation.
How many answers are there when it comes to a yes no
You
question?
you always do this with me. Just relax. I'll get there. I'll answer your question, okay? I think it is worth it. And I know we just saw Juan Soto go to the Yankees and leave the Yankees. Now he's playing at the crosstown rival. Oh, the Mets, the Yankees rival. I don't know. So there is like a weird taste in everyone's mouth right now. But what happened to the Yankees from missing the playoffs to the World Series because they added a superstar player? I think Kyle Tucker could have this effect, the same effect on the Cubs. Does that mean they're going to go to the World Series? No, not necessarily. But like he's that kind of player. So I think he is worth it because it also jump starts or gives the organization the kick in the butt. Like we just got Kyle Tucker. Like we have a pretty good squad lined up here. I would say they've underachieved. And now it lights a fire under your organization, whether it's just for this year, but they're going to be better this year because Kyle Tucker is in the lineup. So that just I think there's a snowball effect there. You're better, you get some wins under your belt, the fan base wants it, and there's just momentum. So I think he brings momentum to this Chicago Cubs organization. We can talk about what he's going to bring on the field. We know he's going to be a five-tool player. He's a stud. The other thing I'll say is it doesn't necessarily have to be a one and done. I know he wants to test free agency. I know that he just saw Juan Soto get what's now a $830 million contract. It keeps going up by the minute. It's crazy. But there has been an example of his agent with, I believe it was Pujols, signed, traded, extension. So like this isn't a Scott Boras client where he has to test free agency. Maybe he loves Chicago. Maybe they think they can resign him, offer him the world, whatever it is. So to answer your question, it is worth it for the Cubs to go do this. Yes.
I don't know. Albert Pujols, when did he sign trade extension?
Or it's somebody else. It
Yeah,
was
somebody
it
else.
was Paul Goldschmidt. My bad.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah,
Now
my
that
bad.
makes sense. That's fine.
I'm
Um,
sick. I told you I'm not feeling great.
you're fighting through, and I do greatly appreciate it. Yes, it is fully worth it. And Chicago Cubs, welcome to the big boy table. We've been expecting you. Like we've been. It's like the person that you expect to show up to a party, and you keep sending them the RSVP email. Like, holy shit, are they finally going to show up? Are they finally going to say yes? And they finally did, because they chose not to extend any of their core guys. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber. They let all those guys who helped snap a 108-year curse, and for whatever reason, they decided not to extend them. Fine. Go out and get somebody else to start a new tradition. They just didn't. They figured that they could kind of nickel and dime their way through this. And what has it produced? Back-to-back 83-win seasons. And their manager, whom they brought in for $8 million a year the last week of the season, saying there's a sizable gap between ourselves and the Milwaukee Brewers. What? The same Milwaukee Brewers that just let Craig Counsell leave as a manager, that just traded a former Cy Young Award winner in Corbin Burns, that previously had traded Josh Hader and will just keep selling and selling and selling. There's a sizable gap between the mighty Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. This is for the mental health of the fan base, if nothing else. And, oh, by the way, in my opinion, you're getting a top 10 everyday baseball player in Kyle Tucker. So, yes, it could be worth it. And even if he leaves, the worst thing that happens is you get a comp pick, or if things totally derail the first half of the year, you flip him, because I still think you could then pick some, prospects that could help you along the way and recoup maybe 90 cents on the dollar of the guys that you just traded.
I also, I think we're going to get to this next. So I don't want to get into it too much, but actually just ask the next question. I forgot we were going right there.
The rumors about the Cubs trading Cody Bellinger,
Yeah.
perhaps to the New York Yankees. Now, the
Yeah.
money is a sticking point between those two franchises. But let's look at this big picture. Is it a mistake of Chicago if they do trade Bellinger, or is it smart to free up some money and go plug some holes elsewhere?
Don't trade Cody Bellinger. Don't. You just signed Kyle Tucker. You just signaled to the rest of the league that we're here. We want to play. Keep all your good players. Don't trade Seiya Suzuki. Don't trade any of them. Like, you need to have depth. What is it going to, what return are you going to get that's going to help you more than these guys? I know there could be a logjam. You need depth. Health is always a concern. I just think keep all the players that you can. That's probably a bad thing for PCA that I'm saying that, my guy, Pete Crow Armstrong. But if we're really talking about what's in the best interest for the Chicago Cubs, it's to keep all of these guys together. Now, you're right. You can see how it goes, and maybe it doesn't work out for them. And the trade deadline comes, and maybe at that point they sell off some of these pieces. But I think initially, to begin the year, I think you need to keep everybody. You want the best 26 guys you can have. You want to prove that you're the team. Like, don't sign one guy and trade away another great talent. Like, keep everyone there. I just think it'll be a mistake. I don't think they need to do it. Like, if you want to improve your bullpen, go improve your bullpen. There's guys out there still available via free agency. Like, I just don't think that they need to trade Cody Bellinger or Seiya Suzuki right now. Like, keep everyone there. Call it a logjam. Call it what you will. I don't care. I want the best 26 players possible. I'll figure out a way to find playing time for all these guys.
So what happens is the reason they would trade Bellinger is to utilize those funds elsewhere. And I think that's a little bit where teams get in trouble, because they get too cutesy, right? You basically know what you've got in Bellinger. He's not going to be like the near 900 OPS guy that he was a couple of years ago, where he then got the short extension. And now he's got, if he opts into his player option for the following year, and I'm talking about for 2026, for the next 2 years, he's going to cost you over $52 million. So that's a $26 million AAV. I don't think that's what Cody Bellinger is as a player these days. I know people talk about his positional versatility and what he means on the base paths. I would agree with all that, but I just don't think that he's going to be like an 850 OPS guy moving forward, and I don't think he's going to warrant that type of number. So I could understand why you'd want to trade him, free up the $26 million per year, and utilize it elsewhere. But I want to throw this at you. The Chicago Cubs, even with the Cam Smith trade, still have 6 prospects ranked in the top 100, several of whom are ready to compete at the major league level. Those are attractive players for other teams. So even if you don't want to spend the money on the bullpen guys that are out there, go find some cheaper options that you can get via trade. We talk about it incessantly on this show, that prospects aren't there just to grow up in the Wrigley Field ivy. They are there to go sprinkle around the rest of the league, so you can bring in guys that have done it at the major league level, not necessarily guys that you are praying will get it done at the major league level. So go pull the trigger on a couple of more trades and bring in more established guys because you can do it with this team.
Agree. So you're agreeing with me. Don't trade Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I am because like if you trade him to New York, are you going to get like bullpen arms back? I think they love what they've got now in New York with the bullpen.
Mhm.
Not just at the back end with Weaver and Williams. I think they like what they've got their balance elsewhere. I think they feel really good about that. So, isn't that where you'd want to fortify your team if you were the Cubs right now?
Yes, like, you mentioned that. You can go trade for those guys. I think, like, Cody in center, Kyle and right, and yeah, that's really funny, actually. Cody, Kyle, and Ian, that's like a frat house in the South. You have those guys starting for you. PCA spelling each of those guys on different days, keeping them healthy throughout the year. Like, this is what good teams do. I had this conversation with Jake earlier about the San Francisco Giants. I actually like their lineup, but everything has to go right. Like, everybody has to stay healthy. Everyone has to produce. You need depth in the big leagues, dude. And this, if they kept Belly, that's exactly what they would have. So that's where I'm at on this. Yeah, go acquire relief pitching. I mean, their starting pitchers were great last year. Go acquire some relief pitching, and now all of a sudden you're looking at a lineup and a pitching staff. If you go get those relievers, that they can kind of compete with anybody. So I'm in, man. I'm in on this Cubs team if they go do those things.
Yeah. So, and I think I need Cubs fans to help us out a little bit in the comments section here about what you would like to see. See, I think with Bellinger, you keep him pretty much at first base. You put PCA
Okay.
in center field because he's so good. You move Bush over to third. I know Matt Shaw now has become their top prospect, and they feel like
Mhm.
he can be the everyday third baseman. There's some questions about I keep reading about his defense, but they feel like offensively he can compete at this level. Is that good enough for you? Now, one thing I would consider doing is trading some of those prospects like Owen Cassie. Where is he going to play anytime in the near future? Now, maybe he's the guy that replaces Kyle Tucker in the outfield, but he feels like he's ready to go. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would call Cleveland about Clase. He is he's going to make 4.9 million this year. He's going to make like 6.5 the next year, and then 10 on a couple of team options for the following 2 years. He fits exactly with what you're looking for when it comes
Yeah,
to that. And I know that the Guardians would be salivating over certain guys that the Cubs have, guys that are ready to compete and fill out their outfield right now. We can talk about the Cleveland angle a little bit later, but I do think that that's a call that you want to place if you don't want to give a ton of money to the free agent relievers that are out there.
agreed. I mean, it's a great spot, but there are guys available. I think especially relievers, teams are always trying to cash out when the chips are hot. You know what I mean? Like they're always trying to sell at peak value with
Mhm.
relievers. So like there's guys available. Even if you don't think they're available, teams will take calls on relievers just because it's such a volatile position.
All right, Cubs, go, as we like to say in the business. Today's episode of Baseball Today is sponsored by our friends over at SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the number one rated ticketing app. They have more than 70,000 events every single day on the app. That includes sports, concerts, festivals, and oh so much more. They rate every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dot as well. They color code it, make it easy for you. Green dot, that's good. Red dot, bad. Now, you might look, let's say you're trying to get NBA tickets and you see that there's a red dot with a seat that's near the floor. You're going to go, how in the world could this be a bad seat? The seat itself may not be bad, but the deal where they're going to charge you a certain amount of money, that could be horrific. So, SeatGeek, they're looking out for you and your wallet. And no matter how many times you bought tickets on SeatGeek before, the code today10 is going to get you 10% off your next order. That's 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a brand new customer or not. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, or download it today. Add that code today10 to your account. What in the world are you waiting for? You want to do it now because this offer is only available for a limited time. The code is today10, 10% off your next order. Enjoy it on SeatGeek. All right. Let's look at things from the Houston Astros perspective. They bring in Paredes and Smith. So it seems like Houston is bracing for life going forward, not only without Kyle Tucker, but free agent Alex Bregman. Um, Now, their GM Dana Brown, he said, "We're still going for it. Don't believe what you read. We're still going for it." Do you believe him?
As of December 16th, with this lineup, no, I don't. I don't believe. Well, I might believe him because maybe he's got some more moves up his sleeves. But you're asking me like, are the Astros the top team in the AL West as currently constructed? I would say no. I just don't think so. I think
Who
there's
do
a
you
ton
think
of
is?
question marks. Huh. I had a big conversation with Jake about the Texas Rangers. I think everyone's forgotten about them. I would pick them right now as my top dog in the AL
Okay.
West. I think they had a ton of injuries last year that derailed them. Everyone's healthy now. So I think you can make a case for I'm giving it to the Rangers. Seattle still has stuff to prove to me. And right now, again, as currently constructed, man, I just don't love this lineup. I don't. You just took away Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker from it. Look, Paredes is great, but it's not enough to sustain. Back in the bullpen, still good. You can I still respect the pitching staff. I mean, guys have gotten it done. Is it like it has been in years past? Like, I don't know. I think there's more question marks in the rotation than years, like I said, years past. The lineup to me is what signals like, no, they're not the top dog in the AL West. And I think a lot of people say, well, they are until they show they're not. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, go look at the lineup right now. You're not going to be very excited about it. So
Well,
could he could go and sign Christian Walker. He can go, hey, make a play for Vladdy, like something. Like there's a lot of guys out there to improve this team. I believe they do have the means to do it. But as again, December 16th, I'm not a believer in the Astros right now.
yeah, the lineup is just okay, right? It's Altuve, it's Jordan. I do think that Paredes will do well. Everybody's made a big
Sure.
deal about how he pulls all of his home runs, and the Crawford boxes are going to get lit up by him, and that's very, very possible. But Alex Bregman is just a guy that he's built different, and he's done wonderful things for that organization. So it's not super easy to replace those two dudes at all.
Go look at the Astros lineup and then go look at the Rangers lineup
Yeah,
and
you're
just tell
right.
me what you like.
You're right. Um, but there's rumors out there they're interested in Nolan Arenado. Like I don't quite get that. I know that you could move Paredes to first base and you could put Arenado at third, but we've talked about Arenado this offseason, how not only just his regular basic numbers have gone down, all the peripherals, his barrel average, his hard hit rate, the worst of his career. So, I mean, does he automatically get better in a park like Houston? Maybe he does. I don't know, but I don't know if that's the way I would want to go about my business. Um, I actually will commend the Astros for this. They have been threading this needle an awfully long time. I mean,
Yeah.
how many organizations could withstand losing Carlos Correa and Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke and Justin Verlander, even though you bring him back, and George Springer? We're talking about dude after, not just players. We're talking about some upper crust type shit here and still compete. Now, this was the first time in the last 8 years they did not make the ALCS, and that was a little jarring for them when Detroit went in there and whooped their booty. But I do think that I'm not going to say the organization's at a total crossroads, but I think for the first time we look at the Astros and we're like, yeah, they're
That's
okay.
the only reason we're giving them real credence is because of what they've done in the past, like you're talking
Totally.
about. And if this was a different organization and we just knew about this year, I don't think we would be talking about the Astros the same way we do. So yeah, you have to give credit to the organization, player development, scouting, all of those things, 100%. But yeah, as of right now, I'm not in on the Astros.
I've also lost track of which of their starting pitchers are injured. That with them, I get confused. Who's on his way back? Who's totally done for the year? I know that Fromber's fine, and I know that Hunter Brown is okay. Everybody else, I am confused on.
A
It's
little
just,
bit, a little bit.
yeah, it gets a little rocky for me after that. Do you think your boy Presley's going to get moved? Because that's the big rumor that they want to trade him.
I don't know why.
Because I think they feel like they want to
I'm
free up.
sick of everyone trading their good players, dude. Keep your good players. I don't know.
Well, because he's in his mid-30s. Let's see what he's making. I know that he's making a pretty good chunk of change. So he is 36. He just turned 36 yesterday. Happy birthday, Ryan Presley.
Birthday.
Yeah, and then let me get down to how much he's making. But I know it's double digits.
15?
I'm going to guess that. Oh my God, this is taking forever. I shouldn't have hit this button. I apologize to everybody for taking so long on this. Da, 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 da. He is making 14. Good call. Yep. All right.
So you want to trade him because he's making some money? I don't know.
Well, I think they
Keep your
want to.
strength to strength.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the point is, and we just had the discussion with the Chicago Cubs. This is a guy that's a proven closer that has tremendous playoff pedigree, and $14 million for 1 year could do that. I
Okay.
think that's probably, and then reallocate the funds elsewhere. They are a team that is totally about staying below the CBT for a certain amount of time. Like, Jim Crane, this is what he does. And I don't think there's an owner that's more baseball involved with decisions than
Yeah,
that guy.
he is.
And
He
he has
is.
been steadfast. I am not going above $151 million in terms of a long-term deal. It's why I don't think Alex Bregman's coming back, and it's why Kyle Tucker just got shipped out of town. You can argue about it, why he isn't getting with the times and getting into the $200 million range, but this is the way he runs his organization. You know it. You know it. Let's stay in the AL West, where the A's are making some pitching moves. First, they added free agent Luis Severino to a 3-year deal. Then they traded over the weekend for Jeffrey Springs from the Tampa Bay Rays. It was a 6-player swap. We also heard that they were sniffing around the Max Fried train before that pulled into the Bronx. I don't know how much that one actually got down the road. But do you think that the team that's going to call Sacramento home this season is interested in winning finally?
Number one, I believe those Fried rumors were dispelled. I don't know if it was forced or somebody higher up in the A's were like, no, we weren't talking to him. So that's how the rumor mill works. Are they interested in winning? Yeah, they're interested in winning. I think there's other factors that come into play. I think the winning part, I'll start there. Do they want to win? Yes. They're in West Sacramento. They understand that they'll probably get like some initial like ticket sales there just because it's a new thing. But then if they are a bad team again, like they're going to be playing in front of 3,000 people all year long. They don't want that to happen again. So do they want to win? Sure. I think that they are at this point now where if you kind of like read into what's going on with them and the CBA and the Players Association, they need to get to this magic number of $105 million for their payroll. That's why we've seen them get, into the free agent game, give them Savvy 3 years, $67 million. If they don't do that, that means that they're not allocating 150% of their revenue sharing dollars that they received. And if they don't get there could be a grievance filed by the Players Association, which might nullify their revenue sharing, and they'd end up with nothing. So that is probably the bigger reason that they are going after free agents. And it's making actually for a really interesting offseason for them. And you kind of have to be, I mean, is any A's fan stoked? I don't know. But if you're an A's fan out there, you got to be stoked with how things are going. JP Sears coming over is awesome. I know you had to give up a talented, possibly talented pitcher and Boyle there, but JP Sears is proven. So you kind of like have the start of
You
this
mean Springs,
rotation.
right?
Oh my God, Springs. They already have
Yeah,
Springs.
it's okay. It's
Springs.
okay. That's all right.
I'm sick today,
I know
people.
you are. I'm just
Springs
want
come
to
over
correct.
from Tampa.
I don't want everybody yelling at him in the chat and
He's
in the
gonna be
comments.
great. He's gonna be great for them. They made moves that I like. There's some young guys that we like on that team, guys that have had success. I mean, the lineup is still very light. They need to continue to go. So right now, I believe they're sitting at $88.5 million, which means they have, roughly $17 million to go.
Mhm.
So you could, I guarantee they'll spend that money. I don't know on who. If it's another pitcher, I'm kind of hoping it's a position player, but are they trying to win? Yeah. Are there other reasons for it? Yes.
Yes. Okay. So whatever the reasons are, and I still feel sick to my stomach for the fans of the mighty Oakland A's. I don't know how I'm going to feel if they're an interesting team because they played 500 baseball the second half of last year, and whatever product they're going to put on the field this year will be better than the one that we saw even the second half of last year. Now, does that mean that Brent Rooker and Lawrence can do their thing? We'll see. I hope so. Those two guys combined
They
for
need more
nearly a
than that.
9 WAR. Yes, they need more than that in their everyday lineup. They do. I don't know. Langoliers, is he the real deal?
He's good. Blade is good. Like, you
Yeah.
just need some. You need some
More
another
consistency there.
a more consistent, proven Major League Baseball player.
Now,
Christian Walker, so this is the thing, and we're talking about this, they're playing in West Sacramento. It's not easy to convince guys to come play there. It
no.
just isn't. Christian Walker, though, he's older. I think he understands this is his chance for a payday. So if you go and you quote unquote overpay for him, he'd go play there.
Well, that was the thing I was thinking about with Anthony Santander. Like, is that a guy that because I think a lot of teams they see the 40 home runs, they're like, wow, that's great. And then they look at the on base and the defense that's coming into your yard and they go, what do we really want to pay him? Like,
Yeah.
so is he a guy that would get overpaid there? Possibly. Possibly. But then all of a
I
sudden
think,
you've got a little bit of an interesting lineup. So
yeah, and the AL West, I mentioned, there's no clear cut
no.
front runner out there. I don't think that they'll challenge any of those other top 3 teams I talked about for the AL West, but you mentioned the 500 ball second half of the season. They obviously got better over the offseason. They're going to continue to do it. I just think they're going to have to go. If they're looking at free agents, they got to look at the guys that are like, this is my last contract, couple years,
Mm-hmm.
and they can bring those guys in.
All right, today's episode of Baseball Today is sponsored by these dudes at Mova Globes. Mova Globes makes rotating globes. They are constantly in motion, and they are powered by ambient light. Hidden magnets provide the movement, so there's no batteries. As you can see, there are no messy cords needed. In fact, I was just staring at this thing earlier today. I didn't sleep great either, Plouffe, and I just watched it rotating and rotating and rotating. And I was seriously like, it was the old, your eyes are getting heavy. Your eyes.
Oh.
I almost fell asleep. So thankfully you showed up after a few minutes. Now, these things are available in over 40 designs. It includes all 30 major league teams. It's also got world maps, outer space, famous artwork. Who knows? There might be drones inside of that thing and much, much more. And as an official MLB partner, Mova is proud to present this unique baseball memorabilia. It's perfect for both classic baseball collectibles enthusiasts and devoted fans. All 30 teams, they're available now just in time for the holiday season. So enjoy 10% off all officially licensed MLB MOVA Globes. That's when you use the code BT10. That is the code B as in baseball, T as in today, and then the number 10. Go order your globes now. Click the link in the description. Off you go. Happy holidays. Carlos Baerga, who's been pretty plugged in over the last few years, he made another interesting report, this time north of the border, that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. turned down a $340 million offer from the Jays as he heads into the final year of his contract. If that is true, shouldn't Toronto be looking to deal him a la Kyle Tucker right now?
Yes, they should. I think they need to complete directional change in Toronto. So you could look to deal now. You could wait to do it at the deadline. I don't think it really makes a difference. But they just it hasn't worked there. It hasn't. They need a new course. They bring in Jimenez. I love Jimenez. I think Jimenez could actually signal that they're going to get rid of Bo Bichette first, move him to shortstop, and figure out. Bo Bichette's had one bad year. The rest of the years have been great. Specific and obviously playing shortstop, the offense comes at a premium there. But I think, like you said, the reports are they offered him this extension. He's not going to be there. Are you going to win anything this year? I don't think so. Right. So go. I usually like to keep players on their team. I don't like to get rid of all your good players, but they are just not where they need to be. So yes, I think if I'm the Blue Jays, I look to move both of these guys and just kind of figure out where I'm at after that. It just has not worked for them, Chris. So yeah, they need to move for sure Vlad, because he's not going to be there. And then I would move Bichette as well.
Way to finally get on board, buddy. I've only been
I'm
on
there.
this train.
It took me a while.
Yeah, I've been on this train for almost the last year. I said they should have pulled the trigger before the trade deadline last year. That way a team gets 2 bites at the playoff apple with Vlad if he does eventually leave. Now, Toronto's front office, which already has come under fire, is going to be eating a big old shit burger regardless of what happens in this situation. The only thing that won't is Vlad signing an extension. And then if you give him $360 million, then where are you allocating funds? Because this is a team that has spent, and it's also tried to reportedly get the biggest fish in the free agent pond each of the last 2 years in Shohei, where we were freaking following the entire plane ride, and it was the dude from Shark Tank instead. And then this
My
past year
friend.
with Juan Soto, who knows how far those talks got, but that ain't happening. You have to hit the reset button, and I know that this front office is probably terrified that it might cost them their job because you're giving up Vlad, who said last year, quote, "Man, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here all my life, but this is business." The minute that he uttered those last 4 words, "But this is business," if he had stopped at, "I want to stay here all my life," then okay, maybe we're hanging on to it. But when he admitted it's about business, it's time to go. It's time to pack up and try a different tact because this boat keeps heading right for that iceberg. And I've seen it for the last 6 months. And if you don't do anything, you're going to hit it way harder than the Titanic hit that thing in 1912.
It's sad, man. I liked what the Blue Jays were doing. I
I did.
liked
I
it.
picked them to make the World Series
It
last
was it
year.
was it was gonna be a lot of fun, and just they're on the wrong trend right now. Last place in the division last year, they went from like 92 wins to 91 wins to 89 wins, and last year 74 wins. It's going the wrong way. You got a couple guys that can get you some pieces back. You got to figure this whole thing out. When they decided to go like defense first, I thought that was interesting. They've won 2 team gold gloves back-to-back years. I
Great.
just don't know if that's the recipe in that division. I don't know, man.
Hey guys, you won 2 team gold gloves. Do they put
But
that right next to the 2 commissioners trophies?
it's interesting though, because you think, okay, they won 2 team gold gloves, plus they had this freaking bopper who, had a 940 OPS last year, but we're talking 74 and 88 last year.
Horrible. Horrible.
I don't
They were
know.
20 games out in the division. They were like 12 out of the wild card. Be better. And that means trading Vlad. And we love offseason trades here on Baseball Today. Last quick thing. Freddie Freeman, of course, had that remarkable walk-off grand slam in Game 1 of the World Series. Yeah, there it is. Somebody paid $1.56 million for that baseball, the third richest sum ever for Major League Baseball, behind Shohei's 50-50 and McGuire's number 70, I believe. Does it still amaze you when people dish out that sort of money for just a little baseball?
It doesn't amaze me anymore because now people have lots of money. There's a lot of people with a lot of money out there. So, when your owner doesn't want to spend money because he's crying poor, just tell him, hey, there's another billionaire out there that wants your team, so you can sell it and make your profit. That's how I feel about all these guys. So it doesn't amaze me anymore. It's Bitcoin's at 106,000, Chris. There's a lot of people out there with a bunch of money that they don't know what to do with, and they end up buying baseballs like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how wise an investment it is, but whatever.
That's not what it's about.
That's not what it's about.
I
When
wonder
you're
if the guy that bought the ball was there, like at the game.
Mm.
Because that's cool. Hey, I was at this game and coolest
But
game
then
I've ever
people ask
been
you,
to.
"Hey, you caught that ball?" "No, I paid $1.56 million for it." Would you be more impressed if the person caught the baseball or paid $1.5 million for it?
Oh God, I don't know. Like,
I'd
I
be
guess,
more impressed with the payment because if you could afford
yeah,
to
right.
pay
I guess pay, yeah. If like I said, if you were there and it was like the awesome moment in your life and you wanted this memento and you bought Bitcoin at $700, yeah, what's 1.5 to you?
pretty good.
How's your crypto account doing?
It's fine. We dabble. That's it. Yeah, it'll be great for the next 4 years. I don't know what's gonna happen after that, but we'll see.
Oh my gosh.
Huh, we'll see.
Okay.
Stock market works well too. It's crazy. Yep.
Invest. It's not timing the market, it's time in the market,
That's
people.
right. There you go. Well, welcome to the investment hour with Rose and Plouffe.
I need to go to sleep, dude.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We're back later this week, if not sooner, if something major happens, another trade, Corbin Burns, somebody else. We're always here for you. Just remember that. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented, if not sleepy, and now dog owner, Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We'll see you later this week here on Baseball Today.